Good evening.
Good
Shall we
afternoon.
start the session? Good evening, guys. Shall we start the session?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Hasan. Uh, Hi, students. Today we are going to discuss about post-pandemic economic recovery winners and losers. It's mainly it's covered for your one of the causes of global business environment. I feel like that it's related to that global economy, I mean global business environment course. That's why I'm just to pick that topic because nowadays you know that the Trump policies, yes, everything we can discuss the end of the sessions. First, we can start with how the economy recovery in the post pandemic, right? So the over the past few years we have witnessed one of the most disruptive global events in the modern history. The pandemic did not just slow the economy, it reshaped it, right? So the entire industries or collapsed, especially while others it showed to record breaking growth also. Countries that were struggling before 2020 found themselves in deeper crisis, while some unexpected players emerged stronger than ever. Today we will explore is the winner and losers have been in the recovery phase. From technopath and green energy innovators to tourism independent economy and oil producers. We will break down why some thrived while others is faltered using the data, case studies, and real world examples. But this is more than a history lesson. As future business leaders, you need to see the pattern behind these outcomes. Patterns that can guide decision making in times of uncertainty. We will also examine government policies that work, geopolitical shift, and emerging trends that will shape the next 5 years, including AI and machine learning interruptions and the future of work. By this end of the sessions, we will have a clear understanding of how to spot opportunities, how the agility can be a competitive advantage, and how to positions yourself and your organization to among the winners in the next wave of global change. Let's look at the global economic impact of recent years. In 2020, we saw a historic shock. The global GDP dropped by 3.4%. It's marking one of the sharpest contractions in modern times also. This way, you know, the largely due to the pandemic which disrupted supply chain, halted travel, and slowed customer spending worldwide. So the fast forward to 2023 and we can see sign of recovery with global GDP growing by 3%. This rebound reflect adoption, business embracing digital transformations, then government injecting stimulates, the stimulate and marketing should be reopening. These are the reason is behind. In the US, the unemployment story is just as striking. It peaked at 14.8% in April 2020, the highest since the Great Depression. But by 2023, it fell to 3.7%, showing remarkable labor market resilience. For US as future business leaders, for us, yes, you are a business future leaders, you want to be listen very clearly. Yes, instability is inevitable in every field, but recovery is possible if we stay agile, innovative, and prepared. That is most important. When we analyze the post-pandemic economic recovery, it is important to understand that growth was not eventually distributed. While some sectors faced collapsed, others experienced unpredictable accelerations also. Let's start with technology sectors, right? FAANG, right? Some of the, that it's F denote the Facebook, A Apple, another A Amazon, M Microsoft, and G Google. Yes, these are the tech giants, right? We can simply say in 2020 to 2021, these companies become the infrastructure of both work and life. Zoom calls, cloud storage, online shopping, it's a streaming, digital advertising. They were not just optional, they become essential utilities. So their collective revenues, it's raised from 25%. It fueled by two force factors. One is behavioral shift, second one is platform effect. The behavioral shift, work from home and e-learning, it's a create permanent habits. Still, many of the, yes, the youngsters to likes to work from home options or otherwise the hybrid mode. Many of the youngsters at present they own like for full-time on-site work. So this is the behavioral shift, also one of the permanent habit. Then second one is platform effect. The more people rely on digital ecosystems, the more data, engagement, and monetization opportunities these grinds has. That is also its major. These are the two forces only. Yes, it's the collective revenues raised from 25%. Then healthcare, it's both on urgent need and on unprecedented innovative cycle. You know that Moderna's, yes, the $18 billion vaccine sales in 2021, So how fast science can move when global urgency meets funding and collaborations. Then that some technology moved from research lab to mainstream public health in record time. For investors, this proved and biotechnology angle, agility can produce massive returns in compressed time frames also. Then e-commerce, that led by Amazon, capitalize on the retail shutdowns. The revenue hit $469 billion in 2021, a 38% year on year jump. This was not just about more people buying online. The Amazon ecosystems, that Prime Video and logistics, some cloud systems, it's become more tightly integrated into the customers' daily lives. So here we learn one thing: the diversification across complementary service create resilience. That is the meaning. Then green energy. It's also emerged stronger, that next era. 40% market cap growth reflect a structural shift in investment priorities. So the government introduced a green stimulus measures, especially ESG. Yes, environmental sustainability, investing gain tractions and energy security concern boosted re I mean uh, re, I mean renewable energies. So the pandemic acted as a strategic reflection point, aligning profitability especially with sustainability. So the takeaway here for us, a business leader, is reshape the demand curves. Yes, the crisis reshape demand curves. So those who positioned themselves in aligned with accelerated trends, especially digitalizations, healthcare innovations, sustainability, did not just survive, they expanded their lead. That is the meaning. Let's take focused look at one of the most remarkable pandemic era growth stories, Zoom. In 2019, the 2019, Zoom was already a decent player in the video conferencing market, generating $623 million in revenue. But by 2021, that number had exploded to $4.1 billion. That's not incremental growth, that's a 6.5, yes, times jump into just for 2 years. What did this happen? Because two main forces. One is remote work boom. When the pandemic hit, remote communication was not a nice to have, it was mission critical, right? So the Zoom become go to the solution for business, schools, especially religious gatherings, and even family meets up. In that pandemic time, many of the functions also happened in the through Zoom. So it did not just to replace in-person meetings, it redefined them. Then freemium model. Yes, the Zoom smart business model allowed free access with time limit, especially 40 minutes, right? So creating a low frictions adoption pathway. So once individual and organization were cooked, the transition to paid plans for longer, secure and high capacity meeting was natural. So if you look at the stock price, see that graphs from 2019 to 2023, yes, we can see a sharp rise during the pandemic years. So, reflecting investors' confidence in its growth potential, especially followed by a correction in person activities resumed. For us as business strategists, Zoom story teaches a few key lessons for us. One is timing is everything. Be positioned to serve us on urgency need when the market shift suddenly. Second one is scale fast. Leverage cloud infrastructures to handle demand surge without collapsing. Next also, that the key lesson is lower the barrier to entry. Once you own the user relationship, monetization follows, right? So Zoom may not maintain the peak academic, peak pandemic numbers, but it secured a much larger base, user base, yes, and a permanent place in the digital collaboration ecosystems. Next, while some sectors thrived, others faced unprecedented challenge during the pandemic, and their road to recovery has been far slower. Previously, we have discussed about which sectors it's a winners take place, their winners. Now we can see the losers, especially the airline sectors. The global travel restrictions, especially all countries borders closures, and passengers fear grounded, yes, fleet worldwide. So Delta airline alone posted a $20 billion loss in 2020, the largest in its history. So the issue was not just lost the ticket sales, it was the high fixed cost of aircraft, maintenance, and staff with almost no revenue coming in. So the second is brick and mortar retail. It's a very famous retail company. It's long before COVID-19, the traditional retail was struggling against e-commerce. But the pandemic was the kick-out punch for many JC Penney and century-old department store chain. You know that JC Penney, it's a very famous chain store. It's closed 846 stores as foot traffic evaporated. So this shows how that the business models can be when they rely heavily on physically presence without strong online pivot. Third sector is oil and gas. In 2020, yes, the global energy demand collapsed as factories slowed and travel halted. So, for the first time in history, oil future even went negatively. So, the exact reported a 22% revenue drop in the year of 2020. So, this was not a just short-term sales decline. It accelerated the global push right towards renewable energy. So, the creating structural challenge for the sector. So, here the takeaway here is that these industries, yes, oil and gas, aircraft, especially chain store, retail shops, yes, these industries faced demand restrictions rather than just temporary disruption. Their recovery requires and still require fundamental business model shift. So, for your future leader, yes, like you, it's remember that adaptability, it's not optional. It is the difference between staying relevant and disappearing. It's one example. Now let's that examine a case study in strategic adaptability. Arnav, you know that when COVID-19 hit in early 2020, Arnav faced a near existential crisis. In March 2020, the global bookings, plummeted 72% almost overnight. So the international travel bans, lockdowns, and security concerns mean their core market, global leisure travels, it's vaccinated. So, for many companies in travel and hospitality, that level of demand collapsed, would have been fatal. So, it's the abnorm, it's pivoted quickly. Instead of chasing international tourists, they shift focus to local to regional travel. So they promptly nearby getaway, a rural stay for people who wanted safe escape without flying. So the redesigned safety protocol introduce enhanced cleaning standards and highlight them in listing. So they cut marketing spend and streamlined the operational to preserve cash. This rapid repositioning not only stabilized the business, it rebuilt trust with both guest and host. You know, by December 2020, the Airbus it's stayed one of the year most anticipated IPOs. It's raising $6 billion and achieving a valuation higher than the most hotel chain combined. But you know that it's in early 2020, followed by a steady recovery curve, proof that the crisis can be turned into the launch pad. So if you move fast, focus sharply, and align with changing customers' behavior. So, future leaders like you take the lesson for the following way. Don't cling to your old market when the environment change dramatically. Then look for demand packets also. Another thing is, that the communicate trust and safety when customers confident is shaken. So this case story is a reminder that survival during a crisis often comes down to speed, focus, and adaptability. Finally, let's zoom out from industries and companies to look at the geopolitical landscape. Which countries gained and which struggled in the post pandemic recovery? The winners of the countries, first Vietnam. It's emerged as one of the fastest recovering economics. While global supply chain were disrupted, Vietnam positioned itself as a manufacturing alternatives to China. So the export rose 15 percentage. So the driven by electronics, especially textiles and strong trade deals also. So the multinational companies shifted productions, therefore both cost efficiency and geopolitical diversification. So that is the reasons Vietnam comes under that winners list. Second, Switzerland. It's benefited from its world class paramedical sector. That the global demand for vaccines, diagnostics, and medical supplies, it triggered a pharma boom. It's boosting GDP and reinforcing Switzerland its reputation as a high value and high trust manufacturing hub. If you go for, that losers, especially Argentina, it's faced deep economic instability. With inflation soaring, it's above 100%. The pandemic, that it's worsened existing fiscal as well as debit crisis also. That eroding purchasing power and investors confidence. Recovering here has been more about managing damage than generating growth. Then second, Thailand also faced that same problem. It's heavily dependent on international tourisms, right? Everybody knows about that. So every country's borders also closed. Yes, the travel restrictions. Yes, so in that times, yes, it's fully depends upon their tourism. So its economy, it's dramatically as global travel collapsed. Everything is collapsed now. So even with dramatic travel, the domestic travels also, the loss of high spending foreign tourists, it's created a prolonged economic gap that recovery efforts have yet be fully closed. That for us, the business leader, the key insights, Resilience often depends on economic diversification, the agility in adapting to global stocks. The countries and companies that relate too heavily on one revenue stream are far more uh, vulnerable when distribution hit. Next, we can see that government policies that work. When we study post pandemic recovery, it's not just about market and companies. The government policies played a decisive role in shaping outcomes. In the US, the CAS Act was a $2 trillion stimulate package passed in March 2020. It combined direct payment to individuals, especially enhanced unemployment benefits and loan to the business. This massive cash injections help prevent a deeper recession. One measurable outcome, a rebound in consumer spending, which supported retail, service industry, and overall economic confidence much earlier than expected. That is the difference between developed countries and underdeveloped countries, right? So in the European Union, the EU Green Deal allocated euro 750 billion toward a sustainable recovery. So instead of only repairing short term damage, this plan invested in renewable energy, green infrastructures, and low carbon technologies. So it's a strategic example of turning crisis spending into long term structural transformation. On this slide, yes, the euro versus USD currency trends showing how stimulates measures and recovery plans influence investors' confidence and currency stability. Yes, so while both regions faced downturns, decisive fiscal policy helped the cushion the set stage of recovery. The leadership take away the following way: the policy can be both a stock abater and a growth accelerator. The most effective interventions were not just the large in size but targeted in the way that create the resilience for the future, whether through direct economic support or strategic sector investment. You know, let's look forward to the forces likely to shape the post pandemic economic for the next 5 years. First, the hybrid work. The shift to flexible work arrangement has left a permanent mark on real estate. Yes, especially uh, real estate market. Many companies are downsizing physical office space, leading to office vacancy rate rising by around 30% in some cities. Even co-working giants like WeWork have faced challenges as demand shifted from long-term leases to short-term. So highly flexible arrangements This will continue to reshape the commercial property valuation and urban planning. Next, the AI disruption. According to the World Economy Forum, the AI and automations could displace 85 billion jobs by 2030, but also create 97 million new role in the emerging field like AI ethics, data analytics, crypto security, especially advanced manufacturing systems. So the challenge for both companies and workers will be reskilling fast enough to, yes, it size to the opportunity that AI create rather than just fearing its impact. The for last 10 days before the TCS, yes, it's yes, layoff of 12,000 employees because everybody's are telling that reason of AI interruptions, right? It's not only for that impact. Yes, really the AI and other digitalizations to create their more opportunities rather than creating their impact. Yes. Okay. But still, Narayana Murthy don't to say any open statement what is that exact reasons behind. Okay. So we can see and wait. Otherwise, the general gossip we can't to take that considerations. So the visual, that the AI robot plus office building, that click path is symbolic. It represents two parallel transformations. How and where we work, who or what does the work. So for us, yes, the management people, yes, future leaders like you, yes, the lesson is the winners of the next decades will be those who can adopt business models, workforce strategies, and infrastructures to thrive in a world where flexibility and technology are the default, not the exception. Right? Yes. That now while we have looked at countries that emerged as winners and losers in the post pandemic recovery, we also need to consider geopolitical headwinds that shaped these outcomes, right? One example in this trade tensions between US and India, right? Last 4 or 5 days, especially the Donald Trump presidency, under his administration, the US withdraw the certain preferential trade benefits for India, right? So, under the generalized system of preferences, and tariff were imposed on key exports like textile and some agricultural products. For India, this meant an additional layer of challenge right in the middle of the pandemic recovery. Reduced export competitiveness, uncertainty for exporters, and even visa restrictions that affected the IT and outsourcing sectors. Here I want to highlight one thing, not only for uh, employment. Here many of the educational purpose, especially the students should be affected. You know, nowadays, yes, the NEP 2020, National Educational Policy also, it's encourage joint degree programs. We can call it as 1+1 joint degree programs. That means the 1 year, the first year the students studied here, and I mean India. The second years they are going to fly for some other countries. Yes, so I mean the partners universities. Yes, maybe the partners universities it's located in some other countries, right? So in that time many of the students are affected. Yes, this much of trade interruptions. Yes, it's not only trade war, it's indirectly affect the many students career and life also, right? You know that previously the CPT, OPT concept or everything included in the 1+1 joint degree programs. Yes, that curriculum training programs, optional training programs, yes, the practical training. These are the, you know, that STEM, non-STEM, two type of programs is there. STEMs, any students just going to study for STEM related programs means STEM means S means science, T means technology, E engineering, and M mathematics. These discipline related courses you are going to study for abroad. Previously, the US given 3 years of uh, OPT options. Yes, they just to be optional practically. They just given the doing their internship. Yes, non-STEM students means they are giving 1 year internship programs. So our if you take our MBA, fintech, business analytics, MS finance, these are the courses comes to STEM program. So many of the students in this Trump policies, the many of the students just to be affected for getting their visa also. You know that no visa appointment slot also open in that embassy. Yes, so many of the, especially Mumbai and Pune related, many of the students are struggling. Yes, more than lack of students or face the problem for especially for this year. So here the lesson for us, for your business leaders, the economic recovery is not just about the managing internal politics, right? It is the external political relationship can either accelerate or slow down your growth tragedy also, especially in the globalized economy. Then key takeaway, let's bring it all together. First, all digital and green sectors are, you know, uh, now the dominant growth engines in the post-pandemic economy. Whether it is tech platform, renewable energy, or e-commerce, these industries did not just recover. They expanded their influence, setting the tone for future economic priorities. Next, the policy agility directly impact recovery speed also. So the countries and regions that acted fast with targeted physical and monetary measures, it's bounded back quicker. The lessons here is that in a crisis, slow decision making is more expensive than bold action, both the government and business. Next, the third one is the biggest opportunity ahead is reskilling. The AI, automations, and the green transitions are creating entirely new categories of job, but those jobs will not be accessible to people and organization that adopt their skills, system and strategic in time also. As future business leader, our role is not just to survive change, but it's shape it. It's turning challenges into competitive advantage, right? Thank you. Actually, here I'm just to be want to leave you in a broader strategic perspective. Throughout our sections, we have seen that recovery pattern depends not just the industry resilience, especially or government policy, but also in the global political climate, right? So here, the US and India trade tensions, right? Especially that impacting exporters, investors, and even tech talent pipeline also. And this is not unique to India. Even China and Australia saw a coal shipment restricted due to diplomatic friction, importing that both economics. And Russia, that EU, yes, the relation is shifted to entire energy market. It's forcing a rapid and costly pivot to alternative sources. So the general lessons here is simple but powerful. I feel like that the economic recovery is never purely domestic, right? It's a global politics can either accelerate your path forward or pull the brakes, sometimes overnight. So future leaders like you, this means constantly monitoring not just the market trend but also the geopolitical chessboard you are operating on, right? The management students, 24 by 7, 365 days, you want to be watch us at least to aware what's happening in the geopolitics era. Okay, so very good subject you having one. Yes, global business environment. Yes, always you want to be aware some trade related geopolitical things. Yes, yes guys, do you have any doubts, please? But many of the students feel like that it is very boring. Yes, but I feel like that it's one of the opportunity to learn what's happening in their economy, not only in our countries, even in our world. I feel like that. Please, few of them share about your views, how you feel like that Trump policies, everything. It is only for secret. We won't to share anything. The records won't to be play for any social media or something. Okay, it's your perspective. Please share it.
Yeah, ma'am, explain about the green sector and green jobs.
Green market.
Sectors and green jobs.
Yeah, actually, that nowadays, the especially for circular economy. Yes, I hope that you aware about that. Previously, the what is that circular economy means? We just to be change their customers habits. Yes, the manufacturers trying to change their customers habit, because we just to be stimulate their product for multiple time of use. Yes, some of the things want to be stimulate to reusable, right? So that it's a very famous concept in the circular economy. Because of that green, we want to be the ecosystems. Yes, so these are the factors, these are the manufacturing sectors. What are the jobs is especially ensure that environmental sustainability related things comes under the green jobs. Yes, especially that uh, uh, creating their data analytics jobs maximum comes under that green job field.
Yeah, thank
Yes, very good question. But the if possible, the next week I try to take that green job whole entire things. What are the opportunities is there? What is the impact? Everything. When that concept green job is initiated, which companies it's initiated in that green job, everything, if our time will permit. Yes, next. It's okay. You don't have any questions, please leave the sessions. Thank you.